Hello guys, today we will discuss how to calculate the profit under section 198 of the Companies Act 2013 So basically the profits of this are of two parts, that is A part and B part. Subsection 1 of the 198 says that profit should be calculated for the purpose of section 197, and it is divided into two parts, that is A part and B part. A part is divided into two subsections, that is subsection 2 and subsection 3. B is divided into subsection 4 and subsection 5. Now we'll detailedly see what these subsections will clarify. Basically, this A part will say that credit shall be given in the sum specified in subsection 2, and the credit shall not be given in for the amounts which is defined in subsection 3. And B part says that the sums specified in subsection 4 shall be deducted, and the sums which are defined under subsection 5 will not be deducted. Now subsection is 2. Credit given for sums. Credit given. So under this, the credit shall be given in the form of bounties. Bounties is the sum which is government is paying to some other person, just like a subsidy. Bounties and subsidies from any government or any public authority constituted or authorized by government or authorized by unless and except the government directs. So all subsidies we can get the credit. So we can add it to our profit, trading profits. That's all about the subsection 2. Now we'll go to subsection. Now we'll go for subsection 3. Credit shall not be given. We'll see what are the following things. First is profits by premium of shares. Profits earned by premium of shares or debentures of the company. And these shares should be issued by the company itself. These shares or debentures should be issued by the company itself. And our next point is profits on sale of forfeited shares. Profits earned on capital nature. Example, sale of building, all such things. Of the undertaking. Let it be the business undertaking or business building, or whether it is any building, but profit earned on capital nature will not be allowed as the credit. Then profits on immovable properties or fixed assets, which is of the enterprise, fixed assets. Unless if the company buys and sells the assets or it involves in any trading business of buying and selling of such properties or assets, so the fixed asset should not exceed the WDV amount. In this scenario, credit shall be given only for such amount which does not exceed the difference of the fixed cost and the written down value. Then any change in the any change in assets or liabilities, including the equity reserves, and including the surplus in the P&L account and of the measurement of the liability or asset on the fair value. So all this credit shall not be given. That's all about this subsection 3. Now we'll go for subsection 4. Sums shall be deducted. Sums shall be deducted. Sorry for my handwriting because I'm taking the video and I'm also writing. So all the working charges directors remuneration, bonus or commission paid to any member or staff, or to any engineer, technician or person employed or engaged in the company, whether he may be whole time or working whole time or on the part-time basis. Any tax on abnormal profits, and any tax on special reasons, any tax on profits for special reasons or special purposes which is issued by the central government. Special purposes. Next is interest on debentures by company, and also interest on loan which is given by the company on the loans and advances which they get. Interest on all the mortgages which is given by the company on loans and advances. In all these assets, whether it is fixed assets or floating assets, it should be secured by charge, and if the loan is given on such things, and the interest on such loan will be taken into consideration for this subsection and shall be deducted from the net profits. And all such expenses on whether it is movable or immovable assets of the company. And keep in mind that if the expenses is of the repair nature, then the repair should not be a capital repair. It should be a working capital nature. And the next is outgoings inclusive of all the contributions, which is given under section 181. So what is this outgoings now? See, outgoing is a general term which usually describes the amount which is recovered from the tenant for the general maintenance purpose. Example, you can take it as rates for water, sewage charges, all such things. So that is called as outgoings. And the depreciation which is mentioned in this up to the limit which is mentioned in mentioned in section 123, depreciation under section 123. So up to this limit it shall be deductible. Any excess of income over expenditure which is not deduct over expenditure, and this expenditure should not be deducted in any previous years in computing the P&L account. And any compensation which occurred during a breach of contract is cancellation of the contract. sum paid for any insurance activities to avoid the risk for under which is pertaining to the business, any sum paid for insurance for the company, and debts which are considered bad and written off can also be deducted. So that's all about the subsection 4. Now we'll go for subsection 5, which describes amounts shall not be deducted. Amounts shall not be deducted. Any income tax or super tax, which is any income tax or super tax which is payable by the company on the income earned, and except for subsection D, which will come in the following points and the subsequent points, and I'll discuss about that in that point. So any tax, income tax or super tax which is payable on the income of the company will not be deducted. And also this subsection E, except these, the other income tax which is payable by the company will not be deducted. Any compensation or damages that made voluntarily, that is to say voluntarily, that is voluntary payment or voluntary payment of the fines or penalties shall not be considered here. Compensation that is paid voluntarily. The next point, and the loss of capital of the undertaking while there is a sale, and if there is a loss on such capital, so that shall not be deducted here. And the price which you are selling should not be more than the WDV amount. And the sale also includes for the scrap, selling of the scrap, and any change in the carrying amount. Any change in the carrying amount of any asset or liability and it also includes the equity reserve plus and the surplus, including the surplus in the P&L account. So any change in the carrying amount, what is meant by carrying amount? Carrying amount is the amount of the asset or liability. Just for the sake of this, carrying amount means carrying amount is the amount which is the cost of the asset less the depreciation. So that amount, any change in those amounts of the asset or liability shall not be deducted. That is carrying amount in the sense after depreciation, the amount of the asset, the cost of the asset after the depreciation. And I said that income tax shall not be deducted. The tax shall not be deducted except if the income tax is paid on such change in the carrying amount, that shall be deducted. And the tax which is paid under subsection 4 for the special purpose, then that also shall be deducted. I've mentioned here, you can see that any tax which is on the profit of the special purpose shall be deducted. So except these tax, other income tax shall not be deducted. So this is about the section 198 of the Companies Act, which tells how to calculate the profit. So I'll summarize it. So section 198 of the Companies Act 2013 is having mainly two parts, A and B. So A is having, and the subsection 1 tells these two parts. Subsection 1 comprises of two parts, that is A and B. So this part mainly tells which has to be debited or credited, and there are two parts, A and B. So A comprises of subsection 2 and subsection 3, B comprises of subsection 4 and subsection 5. 2 tells the credit which can be obtained and which can be taken. Then subsection 3 will say credit which shall not be taken, and subsection 4 says that when amount shall be deducted, the certain amounts which can be deducted, that is subsection 4, and in subsection 5 amounts which cannot be deducted. Basically this section tells which subsection 2 tells take credit, subsection 3 says not to take credit, subsection 4 says amount that shall be deducted, subsection 5 says that amount cannot be deducted, and only thing you can take a credit is subsection 2, that is subsidies. Only subsidies you can take. So I hope you liked my video. Please like, share, comment for the new videos. Subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon for more notifications and videos. And I've also posted the costing videos with detailed illustration. Please also check that.